All right. Today's topic is more like kind of deep personally, I guess, but it's going to be about the difference between being alone and being lonely. You know, when you're when you're a kid, most of the time, everybody has friends, but then you got your closer friends, and not everybody gets the privilege of having those close friends. And for me, I've been lucky enough to have those, but not always can you talk to them or have those deep conversations. And so to be alone is um that's okay. That's a normal thing. Not always do you need to be with somebody else. You don't need to always have company with you. And that's something, it's hard to learn. It's hard to understand because people naturally love to be around other people. Now, obviously, there's some people who enjoy the the idea of being alone, and sometimes you need that. Sometimes it becomes overwhelming to be in too big of a group situation. But you know, the idea of being lonely is what sucks, because that's not where you're alone. That's where you literally just have nobody to turn to. You're lonely, and that's when you want company. You want people to be around. And even when you have those friends or those relationships, you can still be lonely a lot of the time. And I've felt that sometimes. Now, luckily, I have some friends that I can turn to and talk to a lot of the time when I'm stressed out, or I have something I need to vent about. Um, but being lonely is a bad place to be. And if you ever are in a situation where you are lonely, try to reach out to anybody. You can talk. It could even be a parents. I understand, it's a little awkward talking to them about that stuff, but even just to have somebody to talk to, it's better than keeping it inside. Because when you bottle those emotions up and those things that you need to let out, it can cause problems. It can cause harmful thoughts. And it's never anything you want to get to. So even if you're talking to your parents, talking to anyone, like me personally, I've tried to go to a counselor before, you know, um, but it just wasn't for me. I couldn't I couldn't do the idea of just sitting down and talking to someone and telling them, but it was a lot easier that for me personally, I found, to talk to some of those friends that I feel that I can go to. Now, some people might not have friends, and that's okay. You don't need necessarily somebody to respond. The most important part is getting it out, letting it out, telling somebody. Shit, tell your fucking dog. I don't care. Just let it out, because being lonely is never something you don't want to do. It's okay to be lonely from time to time. That's something that happens. Not always will you have somebody to talk to, but you know, you gotta let it out, man. You gotta let it out. And for guys, at least, I'm not sure. I'm not a woman, but for guys, it's sometimes it can be hard, telling other people how you feel, because the stereotype is that guys don't show emotions, guys don't this, guys don't that. But everybody needs to. Everybody has feelings, everybody has problems in their life, and you need to tell somebody. Because for guys especially, like, you can see, and don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure, like, the suicide rate for men is extremely high, because of the fact that men don't show emotions. Men don't let out those feelings. And I know I'm getting off topic from where I was, but it still is an important thing to talk about. You need to you need to talk to somebody. You got to tell somebody, you know. And even if it's just random, there are websites and things for that nature where you can go to an anonymous website to talk to people, just to have conversations, because people need that in their life. And you gotta let it out. You gotta tell somebody. You got to um you gotta find your way to let out your emotions, because maybe even not talking. Some people hate the idea of that, and that's okay. I know this topic is kind of gone sideways. I'm talking about something else, but I'm able to really get into this, and I like this kind of idea. Even if talking isn't your way to let out your emotions or show your emotions. Me personally, I'm able to, if I'm getting into that deep situation or that deep talk. But another thing you could just do, I go to the gym. I go to the gym, and when I have, something that's like hurting me, or like, eating me up inside, I will let it out. That's my way to let out my feelings. I'll go to the gym, and I can put the weight on the bar, and it seems to help kind of get that emotion out. I do that. Some people read. I read a little bit. I read mangas, so it's not really like novel reading, but it takes your mind off of it. It puts you in another world. you know it's a way to get out of wherever you're at, whatever situation you're in. And that can be really good, and you just got to find your way to let out that emotion, because bottling it up is the worst thing you could do. And you know some people don't have that. And if you see your friends in a situation that they're not usually in, or in an emotional state that they're not usually in, talk to them. Tell them, hey, I'm here for you. And I try to do that for my friends too. If I see them going through something hard that isn't a good state of mind, I will tell them, hey, I'm always here to talk to you. I'm always here. Even I may not be the best speaker. I may not have the best advice for them for whatever situation that they're in, but I'm always here for them. I will always I will always be open to letting them talk, because I would rather them be here telling me their problems, showing emotion, than them end up killing themselves because they felt that they had nowhere to go. That is the worst possible thing that could happen to anyone. And I would never want anyone to feel that they don't have anyone to go to. Even if you don't know me, I'm okay. You can message me on TikTok or any social media. I'm always here to help. I will talk to you about any bad situation you're in. Anyone. That's a very important topic to me. And you have to make sure that your friends are doing okay and in the right state of mind, and just try to help them through it. Not always can we stay in that like happy sort of feeling, but as a friend, as someone that they trust, you need to be there to help them. That's all I got for today. But um try to keep posting. I will I'm on TikTok now, so same name, King Didi. On there. I'm kind of just posting these videos just to try to get more attention to it. Um, if you haven't already subscribed, maybe leave me a like. Just trying to get the YouTube to bring me to more like more recommended pages. You know what I mean? All right. I will see y'all later. Peace.